What's up, everybody? This is Torrance Davis from Davis Daily, and today I'm going to be reviewing the KP40 Smart Controller by Baytong. So, what I've been doing all these years, at least since Xbox really took over in PC gaming, is I've been using an Xbox controller. And I have this Sonic the Hedgehog color Xbox controller that I've been using for my PC. And Xbox controllers are great. They're great. They last a long time. You can switch the batteries out. You can get lithium chargeable batteries. They're great. But with my PC is 10 years old now, and my Bluetooth controller has issues pairing with the Xbox controller. So I'm due for an upgrade. It's been a problem. So I usually wire the controller to the PC when I want to use it for certain games. I'm also finding that nowadays my preference on PC is more controller based and less keyboard and mouse, because the benefits you used to get with keyboard and mouse years ago, I'm not really seeing those benefits nowadays. And I'll be owning guys in Call of Duty with a controller, and these guys using a PC with a keyboard, or sorry, not a PC, but a keyboard and mouse on their Xbox, or a keyboard and mouse on PC. I'm seeing the advantages. The gap is just closing and closing. So when Baytong reached out, and this is a sponsored Baytong video, so they've sponsored this video. They reached out, they sent me the KP40 controller, and prior to this, I had just learned about Hall effect controllers. And Hall effect controllers basically use a magnetic field and sensors to detect the input. Okay, so you get reduced wear and tear and improve precision. And Hall effect, I guess it was a thing. And one of the guys I play Titanfall with got a Hall effect controller, and it improved his gameplay, it improved his stats. And I'm just like, it's going over my head, but I kind of understand that it's this new tech, and I was sticking with the Xbox controllers. And then Baytong sent me this controller, which is a TMR controller. Okay, TMR, tunneling magneto resistance. Okay, if you think about a Hall effect controller, and then you basically make a better version of that, you get a TMR controller. So it uses magnetic fields and quantum tunneling. Okay, that's how it detects movement. It's an upgrade over the Hall effect. It gives you higher precision. It gives you lower power consumption, which is great because this has built-in batteries, and it gives you greater durability. So if you think about it, if you're using magnets to detect movement, that means that none of your mechanical parts inside this controller are getting any wear and tear because they're not touching each other. So the trigger controls, those are TMR, and so are the analog sticks. You probably realize that after a certain amount of time, when you're using PC controllers or Xbox or PlayStation analog controllers, these analog sticks get drift in them. And drift is annoying because once they start drifting, it's time for a new controller. You will not get drift with a TMR controller, okay? It's the same as the first day you bought it. So that's one of the awesome features. It's got this badass D-pad here. Looks like, this basic looks like an Elite controller. It's got a turbo button when you turn it on. It's got lights there, the LED lights, and it's got optical face buttons, and it also has some programmable buttons down here. This controller will work with the PC, the Nintendo Switch, Android and iOS, and Android TVs. So it has a Bluetooth option as well. And it has motion controls. So you can use the motion controls on the Switch with this controller, which is dope. And it's all fully configurable with the app. Okay, so this is the Baytong KP40 Intelligent Controller software. They call it the Gamepad Assistant. And this takes your controller configuration to another level. So you have the hardware configuration where you can adjust
the damper, and you can change a couple things on the controller. But when you really want to get to the nitty and the gritty, you got to get into the Gamepad Assistant software, which I have up and running here. On the home screen, it'll tell you whether it's configured for PC or Nintendo Switch. These are the quick configurations. You can set it for shooting games, racing games, action games. You can create a whole new config. As you can see here, you can see the controller working. Okay, and all the keys I'm pressing here, so that's cool. You have the overclocking mode. It's set to 1000 hertz. This is just for the PC, so the joystick movement will be more refined, as it says. It'll increase the power consumption, but that's not a big deal. So I like purple. So, there's all these different colors you could set your controller to. It's based on, out of the box, it's based on whether it's PC, Bluetooth, Nintendo Switch, or app, Android, like Chromebook or something like that. But I set mine to be purple. I only use this on PC. And flash when vibrating, I left that on. The brightness, the light brightness, you can change that. You can make it really bright. You can make it minimum. I just left it in the middle. It's fine. That'll also make the battery last longer, obviously with less life. And the light type is either always on or breathing. I like always on. Okay. As you can see here, I want to talk about the triggers. So we talked about the trigger switches. So this thing, the faster trigger, after enabling faster trigger function, the traditional trigger from 0 to 255 will be automatically configured to a more sensitive range. So this is just getting right into the left and right triggers. So you can see it's analog. So it has all these input values. But if I turn faster trigger, it goes from 0 to 100. So it's more digital. It basically turns into a digital switch instead of analog. And then the trigger dead zone. So, controllers have dead zones. And whenever it's in the dead zone, you don't get a response. So you can adjust the dead zone here. I left that default. Same with the right controller, except my right controller goes from 0 to 100 because I have faster trigger on. And I do that because I used my right trigger for firing guns in shooting games. So I want that to go from 0 to 100. And I also, I'll show you here, even if you have the switch on the bottom of the controller set, it doesn't matter. It's 0 to 100 either way. But I'll get into that in a second. So this is your button layouts. So you can map the buttons the way you want to. I left that default. Then you have your M1 and M2 buttons, which are on the bottom. Those are set to my RS and LS. I left those default. There's no reason to change those. On the joystick, they have all these joystick curves. Like I said, if you really want to get into the configuration, you can do that. It's not necessary, but instant response, you can see the curve changes here, balance, delayed input, high performance, and then you can customize it and do what you want to do with it. But I just leave this to default. Like it's just fine when it's set to default. Your joystick centers and your edges down here. This is for configuring your dead zone, so you can make your dead zone bigger or smaller. Okay. So in sensitive area, locate the center of the joystick, preventing misoperation caused by hand micro movements. So you can adjust your dead zones here. I left those default. You're never going to have to worry about this controller drifting or having any drift issues because it's, again, no friction. It's all magnetic, which makes it a better controller, but it also makes the controller last longer because you're not putting any wear and tear on the parts. I like I said, I'm not messing with the curves at all on either the left or the right. Let's see. Motion sensor. So this controller does act as a motion sensor, which I think is only for the Nintendo Switch. So it's like a motion controller. I don't have a Switch, so I didn't bother doing this, but you can map it to the joystick. You can map the motion to the joystick, or you can map it to a button. So you can see here Z-axis up and down movement, left and right movement. You can go in there and screw that, but we're not going to mess with that because we're not doing any motion controls. You can set your left and right side vibration. Left it as default, but just showing you can change the option to whatever you want. Sleep timer, left at default. And on here, it shows all the configurations you just did on your home page. So the curve, the center, the dead zones, the D-pads, the mappings, all that stuff there. And that's it. It's a pretty cool software. It does recognize firmware updates from the website. So whenever you plug it in as a firmware update, you can update your controller. Shows you the battery, how much battery you have left and whether it's charging or not. And that is the Gamepad Assistant software. But there's another thing I want to show you here. We were showing the triggers before, so you can see the left trigger. You can see all the numbers, but the right trigger goes from 0 to 255. So again, that's great when you're doing shooting games and you want an instant response when you're pressing the trigger. Boom, boom, boom. Driving games, you're going to want more of an analog because the more you press on the gas, the faster you go. The less you press on it, the slower you go. So I have it set like that. And I also I left my M1 and M2 buttons the same because I find that it's easier to do like melee using M1 versus the pressing the button in, the actual analog button in. It's a lot easier. And same goes for the left one. So I left those default because it just makes sense. So that is it. That is the Gamepad Assistant software from Beitong.
I've never actually owned an Elite controller. I don't think I would spend that kind of money on an Elite controller, but this controller can be had for under $70. Again, it's got a solid build. It's got a solid weight. It's super balanced. It works great on first-person shooters, I'm telling you. But it also works great on 2D fighters and any other kind of game. You can configure this to be perfect on any type of game. There's the KP40 software, which I did have trouble downloading, so I had to reach out to them to get a copy of the software because it wasn't coming up on the website. Hopefully they fix this by the time this review is out, so anybody can get the software on the website. I will put a link in the description for this controller. I can say that, yes, this is worth spending your money on. I know there's all kinds of other controllers out there, but what I've seen from this and from using this for the past few weeks is I will not be using my Xbox controller on my PC anymore. There's no reason to. This one's going to last longer. The battery's going to last long. I can fully configure it. It's just a great controller. Shout out to Beitong for sponsoring this video. I really like the things that they do. I like their technology, and I will see you on the next Davis Daily. Peace out.